Everybody, I'm Brandon DeCramer from Evergreen Foundations on Skool.
I'm Christina from Chaos to Clarity Lab.
And together, we make up your two ADHD entrepreneur squirrels as the hosts of the Evolution podcast. And today we're joined all the way from Portugal by Fatima Teixeira. How are you today, Fatima?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much, Christine and Brandon, for having me here.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. Me too.
So, Fatima, we kind of talked a little bit before the episode today, and I asked you, like, what are your genius zones that you can just talk about for an hour without stopping? And you said music, sound healing, and music. So, where does your journey begin with music, go into sound healing?
So everything started with my father. I have a family of musicians. My grandfather was already a musician. The family, even they are from a countryside, and the whole town, little town, very little one, they all were kind of musicians, and they had a band and all of that in old times. And my father, I used to see him teaching music to philharmonic bands. He was a musician in the police band, the symphonic band here in Portugal. So I was always seeing him playing, and I always said, I want to play music. But my father would say, that is not a good job. Maybe you need to do something else. And that was kind of my journey. I had to ask my father to really go into music. I didn't start right away. I had to ask and really convince him to put me on music. And then later, when I was, in the high school, I was asking to go into music, and my father was again, if I'm still a minor, you are 15, you need to do something else. So at that time, I was doing journalism and music at the same time. So I was taking two schools at the same time. And I could go through both directions, but I always felt my thing was music. And then from there, I was not 18 yet. I was already playing in weddings professionally. I was playing with rock and roll bands, garage bands, and playing through the country with bands, cover bands, or releasing albums and having these tours through Portugal and Spain also. And music started that way in many different ways. I was like, I don't want just classical music. When I went to the university, I was able to say, I want music. This time I'm going to take music. And I took it. I was doing choral conducting and working with composition. I'm a professional pianist. And I was enjoying so much. I was a music teacher for many years in music conservatoires for at least 15 years. But the things were deep with the scene in Portugal. I was like easily 3 months without being paid my salary, and having the boss sending an email asking, do you really need your salary? Ask for it. And I was like, okay, this is a moment. And I was seeing my college being illegally dismissed from the school. So lots of things were happening. I felt, okay, this is the time I'm going to move out. And I decided to go to Canada, and I just sold everything. I gave my piano. I had two pianos at that time. I gave one of them and I sold the other one. I sold my car and everything. And I just went to Canada. And I was there for a few years, and then I was traveling to Brazil, and then I was staying there for a few years, and then I was traveling around, always bringing music with me. At some point, I just felt that I was losing music due to the situation I was living in. I was staying more at home, and then I also got pregnant. So I kind of put music a little bit away, and I was just missing it. I was not feeling good anymore. I was not really in my best moment of life. And that's when I was composing more. I feel I was already doing meditation music before my daughter was born. She was born in 2016. I was already producing music, and I was living with someone who also I was very much into music production, so I was very into it. Um, and then, I think we all had that moment where we were doing self-development for ourselves, and suddenly when we realize we are doing for others without noticing it. So from there, I was playing full time in a hotel as a professional pianist. And then COVID hit and the hotels were closing. So that's when I really decided I'm going through sound healing now. I have been already doing meditation music and I need to go in a different direction. Also because the shifts at the hotel are not easy. I was playing from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then from 7 p.m. to 11:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I would play more than 8 hours per day, which I love. I was super happy. But to combine that with a child and school and life and COVID, so, you
Yeah.
need to make decisions throughout your life. And then I'm in sound healing right now, and I'm very, very happy. I feel that there is so much we can do, especially now with everything that is happening. It's something really needed. Just the bringing, the sensibility to sound, reminding people of how sensitive we can be to sound and how sound influences us, right? The kind of sound healing I like to bring is not only the frequencies or the musical instruments, but just watching and listening to the waves at the beach can already be a way of meditation, and how those specific frequencies can influence and slow down our brain waves and really bring us into an alpha state and really bring a reset into our nervous system can be very powerful. So this is how I kind of bring music and sound healing in just one short answer.
Wow, that was an amazing answer. And I really have a similar journey with music. You probably couldn't tell these days with my voice, but I used to sing a lot more karaoke. Our family was really into music. I grew up, my grandpa was in a country band that would travel all over the Midwest. They were kind of like local famous. My best friend, his grandpa was the lead singer. We grew up like in local taverns and bars and VFW halls watching our grandparents. So I grew up with just a passion for watching live music. So I can really I can, and since I've been to like 500 concerts, so I can really like relate to your story of your journey of growing up with such a passionate music family. Have you always felt the healing properties? Like now that you look back and you know what sound, frequency, music can do for somebody, do you look back throughout your life and go, "Oh yeah, there's many moments where I felt the healing properties of music"?
Yes, but I didn't at that moment, right?
Yes.
This is like being 18 and doing all the things you do and not realizing what you are doing. And
Oh,
all
we've
the
all been there.
yeah, and all the level of judgment you have at 18 years old that then later you are like, this is all wrong. Yeah, for sure. I feel that it's very common when we are in the process of growth in our journey and becoming more mature in different levels, right? Not just spiritually, but emotionally, even physically, the way you keep growing and your body changes, right? Our body changes so much after you are a mom, right? Everything changes in your body. You need to get used to different sensations that maybe you never felt before. I could not smell chocolate during my pregnancy, which was completely new because I always loved sweets, but I could not. So there are so many new things that you go through every phase in your life that either you learn with that and you start getting that level of awareness of, wow, this really taught me something, or you just keep an alphabet the rest of your life expecting a miracle to happen, but that miracle happens inside you as you keep upgrading yourself in new in your journey.
I would love to hear about like the moment you feel like you realized that music was healing? Like, was there like a moment where it was like an aha, like, oh my gosh, I should have just known that this whole time. Was there a moment like that for you?
There are two moments. One in which I was not doing music anymore, and that was very deep. Um, and then there was the moment where I was starting to receive feedback from people that I was not expecting. And things like, for example, I had this lady from Brazil. Her grandfather was not feeling good, and I just started meditating on her father. I do tuning forks, and as I'm doing the tuning forks and I also do Reiki, I just feel that his medication was not correct. He was at a hospital, but I didn't know much. She just said my grandfather is not doing well. And as I was focusing on him and everything is vibration, everything is energy, I was just sending this remote session through tuning forks. I was feeling him dizzy, and I was feeling something is wrong with the medication. And then I told her, but in a very soft way, because, right, I was just like, can you just speak to the doctors and see if everything is well? And as she spoke with the doctors, they realized the medication was really wrong. The dosage that he was taking was wrong. And that's why he was feeling so dizzy and he was having some extra symptoms that were not supposed to be there. So when I started receiving feedback of the power of tuning fork sessions, or the power of a sound bath, or the power of, for example, one of my tracks for 132 hertz, I sent it to a friend. Her dog was going through a very deep moment. And she said, as soon as I put your song playing, the dog just calms down and starts breathing in a more calm way. This kind of feedback is powerful, right? Because it kind of feeds me into, okay, maybe this is the right path. Maybe I should continue. Right. And many times I was in doubt, and I had different people telling me, you are supported by spirituality. And I didn't know really what was that about, because I was so used to just play and wishing people to feel better, even my students and everyone. It was always a celebration to make music. But then suddenly you have this feedback and you think, okay, there is something deeper. There is another layer here that is not just playing some notes or learning some Stevie Wonder or Bob Marley songs. Is deeper than that.
Mhm.
So, and all of them are important, right? So I think those two moments were the ones that I can go back and really feel deeper about it.
And when you had those moments, I mean, I just think it's really incredible. I love that you had the feedback coming, and that's really what started it, rather than you just having a feeling and like just fighting for it, and trying to find your people. Your people were just attracted to you automatically, and it just worked. And I love that. But I guess what's interesting to me is that you had that feedback, and that's what made you say, wait a minute, I can actually do something with this, and I can actually like make this work and help people with this gift that I have, you know? And it wasn't just the fact that you were playing music that helped someone. It wasn't just the tuning forks. It's also your own intuition, and probably the way that your music affects you well enough to tune into your own intuition so that you can feel things like that about other people. And I think that's a really interesting thing. I don't know that I even have a question. I think I had a question originally, and then I lost it somewhere in that.
And this is why we're squirrels in the image.
This
Um,
happens all the time.
so I'm gonna piggyback off of this a little bit because Fatima, I can feel your passion for others and music and your story and like the journey it took you. And when you mentioned, I can feel you being lost and not feeling fully yourself when music was gone, just through your words. So I know, like doing a session with you, I couldn't even imagine the energy that you're giving as that bass through the music, through what that person needs. And I can feel that off of you. So I think it's really important to note that your passion, your experience, your energy flows through the sound and into that person. And I can feel that just by talking to you. And I don't have a question either. I just think this is awesome.
I do actually have a question though. What does a session look like for you? You know, and I'm sure you have different types of sessions, but walk us through like what that means.
Yeah, so it depends on there are so many types of sessions. With, for example, tuning fork one. When I start, usually I say, I have a good education, but I'm not going to ask you how are you, because that's what I'm going to do in the session. So I don't ask anything at the beginning. Obviously, people need to fill out a form where they say if they have any condition, if they are pregnant, etc. But I don't ask, how are you feeling? Eventually, I might ask, do you want to focus in a specific area of your life? Because we can focus the session on your love area, we can focus the session on your family or career. But usually for the first session, I will just do something general. And then what I do is I don't know if you can see, but
Mhm.
I have these little crochet things that my mom did in purpose, and they have the colors of the chakras and the shape. This is a third eye, almost looks like a third an eye. So each one is like a chakra, and then I have the crystals on top of it, and I just connect with the person. I connect with the chakras, and as I play the tuning forks, not only I'm sending, but I'm also receiving feedback. And usually I speak as I'm doing the session. I'm sharing what I'm feeling. So not only the person is receiving relaxation, nervous system regulation, emotional clarity, and most of the times as I go through the chakras, I don't know if you are familiar with chakras, but chakras are energetic points, energetic fields in our body, and each one is connected to a specific area and specific parts of your body. So you have both emotional and physical areas in the same chakra. So for example, I go through the solar plexus, which is in the stomach area. The color is yellow, and it's connected to self-worth, self-esteem, your identity. And suddenly, I might feel that you have been going through some digestive issues, for example, and that might be related to some sense of self-worth or lack of it, for example, or for example, lack of self-confidence. And maybe it's because there might be an abusive relationship, and suddenly we try to go to the childhood. The way I work with mentoring, on this, we can just do a single session, but if we are in the process of mentoring, I start going to your childhood and really understanding why is the solar plexus chakra giving a signal here? What do we need to work? What is the direction? What is the point of having a different sound on the tuning fork in this zone? Why is not vibrating in an harmonious way? And then when we go to the childhood, each chakra is developed more intensively in a specific age of your childhood. So, for example, root chakra is the very beginning. A mom is pregnant, your first year, your survival years, right? When you are dependent on your caregivers. So, if, for example, you were not wished during the pregnancy, or you just felt, or the birth was not, the moment of the birth was not completely harmonious, or there was some lack of food, you could cry a lot and not have the food that you needed. There might be something in your root chakra which is connected to the sense of safety, to the sense of stability, of structure, of grounding. So there are, everything is connected. So a session can be many different things, but essentially we have relaxation with singing bowls. We have the attunement with the tuning forks, and usually there is always feedback about the next direction for you. And sometimes people come to a session saying, oh, I have a problem of self-confidence. This is just an example. Or throat. I have a problem of communication. And suddenly something else is showing up because it's more important and maybe is the source that will connect all the other points. So it's always, we never know what's going to happen. Maybe, it's about having one session and seeing how it goes from there.
That is so fascinating to me. So there was somewhere in there that you said something like the fork was like if you were using a tuning fork, it wasn't, I'm going to say this different than you did, but it's basically like not vibing with that chakra that it should be vibing with. Like how do you know that? Can you hear it? Is it intuitive? Are you feeling it? Like how do you know?
Yes, so we have two different types of tuning forks. We have with weights and without weights. These ones, we can hear them very well. So you can hear, right? And when I go, you can hear a flat sound, and it's like this. But when I go with the tuning fork through each chakra that I was sharing initially, remember with the crystals, the sound can change as I go through each chakra. So instead of being a flat sound, it can change. It can have different reactions. And the same with these ones. So this one usually we use around our aura, we use around our body. Sometimes when I'm doing in-person sessions, I'm going through the body of the person, and the sound can change in the specific zone where, for example, the person had an injury, or for example, if the ladies are going through the menstrual moment, it can also show. So the sound can be different according to the energy in that place. So when you do this tuning fork, this one, because of the weight, is applied directly in the body. And usually we apply each one. So there are many techniques, right? I use a technique connected to the chakras. You put it in the respective chakra. Usually when people don't know, I put in their hands and I already feel feedback from it, and also from the energy of the person. But these ones, you don't hear them so well. You hear the strike, but then they are vibrating and you don't hear anything. I'm going to strike. And he's still vibrating, but you don't hear anything else now. Maybe if I put close.
I can hear the vibration. Yeah.
Yes,
And that's
low.
it. Different.
But if I'm far away, you don't hear.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still. So these ones we put straight on the body, and the tuning fork itself can also have different reactions. It can balance, it can be straight, it can be heavy, it can be, everything is feedback. And obviously, we as facilitators, we are a channel, right, to bring whatever is meant to come in that moment. So the sound can differ, the tuning fork, even the reactions. It happened to me one time that I was, my tuning fork was hitting something, and I think it was the mallet that fell, and it did a big noise. It was like, and I was like, oh no, I think I just messed the session. This was at the very beginning. It did like a big noise, and I was like, everything was very quiet. I did a relaxation. I was in the tuning forks, and I was like, I just messed up with the session. And then I just continued. But at the end, when the session finished, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about the noise at the middle of the session. And the lady said, oh, I loved it because I was just almost falling asleep and I wanted to hear what you had to say to me. So I'm so happy that happened. Oh, don't apologize. That was awesome. I'm so glad I didn't fall asleep. I was really falling asleep. And I was like, okay. So now I learned anytime that happens, because I don't want it to happen. Anytime that happens, good. You cannot sleep.
I think it's a good testament because a lot of the times we know things that the people we're working with or talking to don't know. So we're like, oh my God, they're going to notice that that wasn't exactly right. And that was a proof. She didn't know what you were thinking. So to her, it wasn't out of the normal. To her, it was actually something that brought her back in. That's a beautiful story of sometimes how we overthink things.
Yes. Even the dog. Sometimes the dog starts barking and I really don't like it. It's everything very, very quiet. But sometimes imagine we are in the third chakra, which is communication. And suddenly the dog starts barking. And then as I move to the third eye, silence. It's so fun because there is always something. If we are really aligned, there is always something. There is always a signal, a message.
Fatima, maybe we could we could test that out in real time. My dog was just barking literally a moment ago. But this is my first time joining. I'm really curious. This is the first time I have heard of doing the sound healing fork on the chakra system. So when you do that with clients, are you just intuitively determining which chakra needs the attention, or do you work with the client in advance to kind of talk through and understand what their needs are?
So no, when I start, I don't want them to tell me anything usually, because whatever comes up, I want them to know that is a signal. Otherwise, they might tell me something and then I feel it, but then I'm kind of, they already said it before and they might just put an excuse that they told me before. So when it's the first session, usually I don't want people to tell me anything. I just go. What I might ask is, do you want something more general or do you want to go into a specific area of your life? And then, because the feedback is different, right? If you are in your career going through all the chakras, we have, structure, we have emotions, we have self-confidence, we have compassion, kindness, we have communication and thinking, we have intuition, we have guidance, and the place in the world, right? So there is so much that you can receive in each area of your life. It can be love, it can be career, it can be, I had someone asking me about a book that she wanted to release. So we did a session just focused, going through all the chakras. And usually what I do, Dana, right? Your name.
Yes,
Dana.
It's okay. It depends on where you're from, but it's Dana here. But I also hear people say it as Dana. No worries. Either way is fine.
That's a Portuguese way to say it, Dana. So Dana, I always go through all the chakras first, in a first reading, just a check. And then I go through each one individually when I do a 1 hour session at least. And in the first reading, as soon as I go through all the chakras, sometimes you just kind of feel the theme without people telling you, especially because sometimes people come and they say, oh, I want to work on my career problems, etc. And then suddenly I'm telling the person, you have been not sleeping. There are habits in your life that are not correct, and they are just messing up with all your areas, not just your career. So, instead of focusing on your career, focus on your habits, especially on sleeping. And sleeping is, your brain areas are in the third eye and crown chakras. So when we have a lot of things happening here and I start yawning and there is so much that can happen, it's like, go sleep, have some discipline on your habits, bring consistency, and you see your career changing completely. It's not about a problem of self-confidence or whatever. First is discipline, and then all the rest will evolve as we work on.
Yes, I'm very much in resonance with you. I understand completely. I do a little work on the chakras, but more from like not so much Reiki, but similar technique around activating the chakra system. So very much resonate with what you're saying, and actually would love to maybe bring you into my community too. If you'd be open to it, we could talk about that later. But it's really interesting because I think you call out a really good point. So many people are looking for the outcome. It's like they're looking for like, what's the way in which it's currently manifesting, like showing up in their life, but not necessarily identifying, to your point, like where's the root cause, right? And how can they address that first? And then also practice the techniques to reinforce activating and expanding that root cause so that then the rest falls into place. I think that was beautifully put. Thank you. And I'm really enthused to hear about this specific chakra activation with the sound healing. I've witnessed and experienced sound bowls and some other techniques, but I've never had that experience directly on the chakras. I think that sounds really amazing, because I can only imagine how powerful that is to feel that vibration directly right there versus just auditory.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I would suggest there are so many sound healers right now in the world. Both in-person and remote sessions are amazing. I used to do a lot of retreats also, and usually I always try to include tuning forks on them if possible. Also group tuning fork sessions where the group experiences the tuning fork session, the alignment. Usually I do it on Insight Timer, but I always share on my community on Skool. So it's very nice to have that experience. And as you said, there are so many techniques. I have a friend that is reflexologist, and we play so much because we use different points. She used the meridians, I use the chakras, and we play together. And she was giving me some content about, the feet, the points, and we were testing the tuning forks on the feet, and we were just playing around and say, what do you feel here? Where do you feel because you can sense tingling sensations on your body in different places, right? Even remotely, which is insane, especially for, someone that is more logical thinking. It can be insane what you can feel.
So that brings up another thing for me. I'm really curious how sound healing works remotely. I mean, especially because if I'm listening to something on my, MacBook, it's going to be so different than if I'm listening through a Bluetooth speaker, than if I'm listening through, earbuds. So I'm curious, how does that work?
Yeah. So although we call it sound healing, and sometimes people are expecting a musical session, but just like I showed you, when I play these tuning forks, you don't have music, right? You hear the strike, and where is the music? But sound healing works through vibration, through frequencies. And the same way we had, people communicating through radios. They could hear their voice, right? In different places. We have so many ways to communicate and to feel each other's. And it's kind of insane how I play tuning fork at my home in Portugal, and you, Christina, in the other side of the ocean, you can feel something in a specific part of your body. So everything is energy, right? And the sound travels very, very, very fast. And just like Reiki, it's so beautiful. The thing is, there are two things here. One is that when we are doing a sound bath, you are always receiving. Okay, in Reiki, usually we ask permission, etc. But in sound healing, you are always receiving because it's a specific frequency. What happened is that I suggest that a person who is receiving is open to receiving, okay, including in sound healing. Because as you are just open to receive any kind of vibration that is coming for your goodness, any kind of healing that is coming through you, even through the facilitator, because it's not just a tuning fork that is sending energy, it's the facilitator also, right? And we have that with so many modalities. The difference is that here you have the facilitator and you have the frequencies, you have the instrument I'm using, and the emotions and the specific frequency I'm playing, everything together, plus the intention, plus the willingness of the client to receive, everything together is a beautiful rainbow of, I don't want to say colors, it's a cliche, maybe notes or frequencies, right? A rainbow of frequencies that you are receiving, and that is bringing you light and guidance. So in my sessions, usually you not only have the reset of the nervous system, but usually there is always a clarity in terms of what is the next step, what is the direction of today, what is the focus I can have this week. And sometimes it's so beautiful because we come with an intention, and then the message we receive and the sensations that go through our body, they are so aligned and they are so beautiful that you don't really know how to explain. I will not make it a woo-woo thing, you know. I don't think in that, it's not that direction. I just feel that we are all energy, okay? We are not just physical bodies, we are energy and we are connected. Christina, you can right now feel me and feel my energy and feel like my words are very close to your ears, right? You can feel all these sensations just through my voice, which is also an instrument of sound healing. So everything, even you guys, everyone here, or everyone who is listening, your voices are an instrument of sound healing, right? Because
Even
you're
mine.
even yours, why not? Right? Because it's a sexy voice. It's different. Nobody has your voice.
He does have a nice deep, yeah, I totally.
Oh,
But
thank you, lady.
your intention, right, and the way you use your voice and the way you reach to people, this is just like playing. I could be in a hotel playing from 7 a.m., like I was saying, until 11 p.m. And I can play and not touch anyone. But I can also play and see people leaving the room feeling happier and better than when they arrived. What is the difference there? It's not the piano, right? Maybe it's not the song I'm playing, it's how I bring the message, how I do it. So the invitation, and this was not planned, but what I feel is the invitation here tonight is to remind everyone that you have sound healing on you. You are powerful channels of sound healing. You can use your voice, you can use your body. We can do tapping and so many things we can do. Even with our mouth, we can do noises that are very cool. You know, you cannot do that. So, you know, all this kind of stuff that you can do with your bodies. There are so many things you can do, especially with your voice, that can bring a message to someone today who needs to hear that message and who needs to feel that love. And sometimes it's hugging, sometimes just saying something, even a nice message, audio message, for example. It can be a powerful instrument.
Fatima, you're channeling right now.
100%. 100%. I'm feeling it too.
That's part of the reason the throat chakra activation topic came up. I'm just going to echo back at you that you're connected.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely connected. And it's interesting. I love how you say too the aspect of receptivity, because trauma naturally, as I'm sure you're aware, it sounds like you're quite in tune, is an inhibitor, right? It can cause blockages, and yet naturally most people will still have the ability to have some type of absorption to a frequency or a vibration, because it is more of, I guess, more along the lines of somatic, as opposed to it being a thought process. And of course, as you do that, and that's why I was so mesmerized by the idea of specific chakra activation with the vibration, because as you do that, it's really powerful in the opening of those blockages, so that people can then become even more receptive and become more of a clear channel for themselves as well. So that's really amazing. I look forward to learning more about your work.
Thank you. I love how you use the word absorb, because when we are going through the tuning forks, sometimes the sound looks like it's absorbed or is stuck. It's sounding very beautifully, and then suddenly there is something there that is not flowing. And that's exactly where we might have some trauma, some injury, some stagnated energy there. And sometimes we need to go through a few more times, or sometimes we need to speak with a client and make a few questions to really understand what the person needs to process in that moment, or needs to realize, or is not needs, but it's the moment to overcome or realize something. So the way the sound answers can be really, really beautiful.
That connects a little bit with Christina's earlier question, I think, to you as well, about your intuitive ability to read that. So, you are able to sense that, for example, using what you're saying, if you can tell that the sound has diminished, right? It's being kind of absorbed and stuck in a particular chakra, that is a cue then as well for you, and in which you can further guide your client. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, everything is feedback.
Mm-hmm.
This is an absolutely beautiful conversation, and Dana, I have to thank you. We've always had we love to keep it interactive. We love to keep it that like live experience where questions, and so I really thank you for adding to that energy today. And before I have a question to go backwards a little bit. Before I do that, I'm going to take a moment to. Usually, I always highlight our podcast with a sponsor, and today we are sponsored by Embrace Your Essence on Skool. Val Vosberg, energy healer, pain healer, amazing, amazing energy and spiritual soul here on Skool. Be sure to check out Embrace Your Essence on Skool. We are brought to you by Val Vosberg today. Fatima, I would like to ask, so I know a lot of Reiki and energy healers, and I've had a couple sessions myself, and they use crystals and some sound. I've done more of the sound like bowls than I have the tuning forks like you have. But one thing that I've noticed is there's like a process in crystal selection. Like certain crystals can give certain like energies, and they always ask a lot of questions when they're doing that. And you said you don't really ask questions, you don't want to know a lot before. So when you're choosing things like chakras, hertz, frequencies, crystals, is that like a feeling? And like you said, you're kind of listening for different things. Do you then go, I need to bring this crystal into this? Or how does that process work?
Awesome. I love that question. I'm going to just say something before, Brandon, because you were saying the sponsor of the episode. And I must say, I already did a live with Val from
It's
the
amazing.
Embrace Your Essence community, who is sponsoring today.
Yeah.
And she is so amazing. We did this live together where I think I did tuning forks in that live, and she did pain relief, and it was very beautiful. So I
I love you.
she's
She's
waiting.
taping listening to us. I love this.
She does
I love you.
beautiful
Thank
work.
you.
So I just want to say I truly recommend her work, and I don't usually recommend many people, but I truly recommend her work. Not only the work, but the person also. And then going back to your question, what I do is I have the 7 chakras here on my table, and usually I already have the crystal associated with each chakra. So for example, crown chakra, I have the specific crochet thing. Some people use dolls, right? I don't like using dolls. I asked my mom to create these crochet things. This is the color is not that good, but this is purple and violet. And then I have the crystal associated with the crown chakra. So for tuning fork sessions, usually I use the 7 chakras circles, the crochet things I have instead of the doll. And I have the 7 crystals associated with each chakra. And that's it. And I don't need to make more decisions in that specific sense. What I do after that is I just go with my tuning fork, the unweighted one, which plays even if I'm not putting in the body. I go through the 7 chakras, and through the sound, I know where I want to be more time. I just start sensing, and I have the feedback according to whatever. It's, sometimes it's just about doing it. It's not I have to say something, right? But it's just going through. And some people sometimes they feel, energy moving through their body. And there is more that I do at the beginning with the singing bowls, just to bring into an alpha state, because sometimes it's about slowing down. Sometimes it's just about allowing yourself to feel that you are in a safe space, and you really can slow down your brain waves. the slower they are, the easier it is to go out from the fight and flight mode and to really allow yourself to be out from that better state where everything is very active and you just connect easily with yourself because you are allowing yourself to go into a deeper state instead of being the things I see, the things I hear, that everything is like you just go into a place when you really go deeper. There is no space, there is no time, and suddenly you realize that the session is over and you want more usually.
So really, to stay in the music terms, like the sessions really depend on and flow through the practitioner, being in tune with not only the sounds and the chakras and the feelings and the energies, but also the patient. And that in tuneness flows through you, through the chakras and the sound, and then into the patient. It's almost this like energy that just revolves around each other. This is a really probably the most beautifully put that I have seen heard one of these sessions explained, to be honest.
Thank you. And sometimes it's not really the instruments, right? It's your work as a facilitator. So, for example, when I do in-person sound baths, I like if I have a small group, I love speaking with each one before I start because first it allows people to connect between them. As I speak with each one, I might feel different things with each one also and might feel right away what might be needed. And then, there is always someone who snores. But if they speak between them before, they already create a relationship and it makes it easier after to allow any kind of sounds because they already created some kind of bond, right? So it's short, but it's enough to create kind of a connection before you start something. And that conversation is not really about what are you going through, how stressful was your week, what problems do you have. It's more just, oh, tell me your name and where you are coming from. Just that. And that's enough to have oh, you are from that zone. Oh, my father is also, it already creates a bond without going to private life and without going to, deeper stuff.
It's such an important thing to point out. I kind of got a question while you were talking about that. Can you feel when maybe somebody's not allowing themselves to let go and be in the moment and like there might maybe they're like holding off a little bit from releasing? Can you feel that?
Yeah, resistance.
Yeah,
If
resistance, that's the word I was looking for.
yeah. Yes, yes, and sometimes this is our work. We should never judge, right? If someone is putting some resistance, maybe it's not conscious, or maybe it is. We don't know. Maybe the person just doesn't know me, or maybe the person has someone in the room who doesn't allow her to feel safe. So if it is something about safety, usually the root chakra accuses. If it is about their own self-confidence, maybe solar plexus. So sometimes we can kind of feel it, but sometimes we can also just give some space for the person to just be. And maybe it's meant for that session to have that little resistance because maybe that is the topic I should speak. And maybe it's not about the session itself. Maybe I start speaking about resistance, and I think that already happened before. I start speaking about resistance, about life, and not specific about the session, although the person is bringing resistance because they are kind of bringing a mirror or projection of their bigger moment, the bigger challenges in that moment. So I think it's always so different from person to person. And it's also, like I was saying, when you bring different themes into the sessions, and at some point you can share what is your situation, right? You can share, look, my situation is this one, and I would like some guidance about that. And that's still cool because you're not saying what is the direction you want to take. You are just putting a context, and it makes it easier sometimes for me to say something more, less abstract. But I would say in the very first session, not saying anything is very cool.
That's an interesting point too, because when you have a group of individuals, whether it's virtually or live, you're able to sense right? Well, I can tell from you, and I'm familiar with this too. Like you're able to sense those different frequencies, and it's almost harmonic sometimes, right? Like where even if there is something that feels like it is off, it sometimes is, I think what you're saying is meant to be that way, perhaps intentionally, for the group dynamic to flow properly. It's about like attuning to that, not so much transforming or transitioning into a different frequency, but attuning them together like you would a symphony.
Yes, exactly. Very well said. The group session can be a bit overwhelming sometimes when there is too many different signals in the same chakra. Um, and for example, on Insight Timer, we can have usually hundreds of people in the live, and some of them are are just passing by for curiosity, just to see, oh, what is happening here? Let me give a check, you know? And it's already a different energy than really being there. What I feel is that at the end of the day, there are always themes that are very similar. So, for example, in one of the sessions, there was a very strong theme about grief. And everyone lives grief in different ways. And grief can be in your work. Maybe, I don't mean someone passing away. I mean a phase in your business or in your work that is about to finish, for example, and you are in that grief moment. Maybe it's a relationship that just finished and you are in that grief after the relationship. So there are specific themes that can be common between people. So when we go into a specific chakra, imagine the heart, and the biggest challenge is grief, people might feel that grief in different forms, in different areas of their life. So there is always something connecting, even if you are in a group environment.
How often do you do groups opposed to like one-on-ones? Do you have a preference? Is it the same for you? What would you say there?
I prefer one-on-one because whatever I say, I know it's for that person and I love it. So when they ask me, can you do a couple session? I always say, I feel it's better to do it individually, even if I do 30 minutes for one and 30 minutes for other, because it's easier. Each one is going different processes. And I know whatever I say for this person, it makes way more sense than saying it to a group. The group sessions I do usually, they are like once per month or once every 2 months, it depends. And they are more just to show people the possibility of a tuning fork session and what does it look like. But I say it, this is a group session. So what I say might be the feedback from the majority of the energy of the people. It doesn't mean it's for literally everyone. But I still do the group ones, Brennan, because I feel they can share. I have one of my mentoring clients, she came because she saw one of my tuning fork sessions on Insight Timer, and she said, I'm going to work with Fatima. And then she just went straight to my website. She purchased my mentoring program. And when I met her, I was like, you didn't even get my free whatever I had on my website. She went straight, to my mentoring. She didn't even booked one session or got one of I have a free audio. She didn't care about my free audio, my one session, my whatever. She went straight to the mentoring program, and that happens sometimes with retreats also, where people go straight to the retreat. And I feel that these group sessions, they kind of show in a bigger audience what can be felt, just like me being here with you guys. We are connecting in some way, and people just feel, I want to go deeper. And that's why I have my community. So on Skool, I have the Sound Healing Mastermind community where I do challenges and I have my audios there. I have my meditation music, guided meditations also. I have courses. I have a chakra sound healing journey. But still, if you want to go deeper, you know where to find me there. You can experience the challenges and everything, and then you can also go deeper working one-on-one with me or working in a mastermind environment. We have here some members that were in the retreat last Sunday. We do a home retreat every third Sunday of the month as part of the mastermind circle. And the home retreat is exactly because not everyone has the possibility to go somewhere to do a retreat, right? Val was there in the retreat last Sunday. So not everyone can do it. And I have a lot of people with, chronic illnesses, and they cannot walk, they cannot go outside. So the home retreat is exactly for people to experience going inward at home. And as they use headphones, imagine they cannot go for a walk, then I have an audio. I have specific audios I recorded with me walking in the forest or walking by the beach, and I recorded with my recorder. I'm a little bit, I love going around with my recorder. And I recorded one of them. I also recorded in video during the COVID. Nobody, like it was in the middle of nowhere in the town, and everybody were at home, and I was enjoying countryside. Everybody were stuck at home, and I was enjoying countryside, recording videos of me doing walking meditations. And now I have them in this retreat offer that I have. And when you put the headphones and you hear these steps on the forest or the feet on the water by the beach, the sand, when you hear that, your brain doesn't know the difference between reality or imagination. So you are putting yourself there, even if you have a chronic illness, even if you cannot go out, even if you cannot afford to go to Miami or whatever is the place. Even if you cannot go, you can still do it from your place. And energetically, that is super powerful. Getting goosebumps right now. It's very, very, very powerful. And it can change, the energy of the person. It can uplift, it can bring hope, it can bring more love toward themselves, because it's very easy to say, I can't this, I can't go out, I can't whatever, I'm limited, and just opens that box of I can go wherever I want. I can go to Miami without going out of home, and I don't need to put all that money out. I can do it. It's more economic to do a home retreat and still works.
If you're like me and you're wondering how you can get quickly to more Fatima, I will put the link to her community in the description on YouTube. So jump over there. This is fantastic. And the way you explain things, I think Dana's feeling it. I know a lot of people watching it here. Christina, I can see it all over your face. We're all feeling the energy. We're all feeling where you bring us. And I can't wait for more than that, more of that. This has been an amazing episode. I'm sure we could go forever. Christina, I know you're not going to fight me on this. We got to get Fatima back. And Dana, I'm going to be in your DMs to get you on as a guest too.
Oh, thank you, Brandon. What is your YouTube channel? I'm not familiar. I want to find you.
Our YouTube channel is Evergreen Foundations on YouTube. And I will be sharing it on Skool today when we put the episode up as well. And if you're watching this on recording, give us a follow. Evergreen Foundations on YouTube is a perfect time for that. If you're looking for holistic health made simple, join Evergreen Foundations Apothecary on Skool. And if you're looking to take your business systems from chaos to clarity, my girl C-Joy has got your back in the Chaos to Clarity Lab, all on Skool. And while we're here, Dana, what's the name of your community?
Oh, well, it's so appropriately timed, but I didn't want to interject with what Fatima was saying. My community is called Yes You Can, and it's all about moving through those limiting beliefs, actually reprogramming yourself to get back to your true, authentic, sovereign self, which I act as a guide in doing, and have a few different healing modalities, as well as bring some specialists into the community. So would love to explore that with anyone who's interested in doing that. And Brandon, I also have a podcast, so maybe you and I need to collab perhaps as well. So I look forward to connecting with you.
I'm all about collaborations. That's why we're here, interactive. Christina, before I send us off, do you have any final wisdom or questions?
I'm just really beside myself right now. Like, this is really incredible to be able to offer, especially like, just remotely like this. I just think it's amazing. I listen to a lot of sleep meditations. I do listen to different frequencies as I sleep. Like I'm very conscious about all of that and what I listen to throughout the day. But it just never occurred to me for like sound healing in like a one-on-one sound healing to happen. I mean, I've done Reiki, I've done all the things, but for some reason that one just never hit me. And now I'm like, that could probably fix all of my problems in my life. So I love it. I absolutely love every bit of it.
Well, guys, this has been absolutely amazing. Fatima, I can't thank you enough. One more time so I don't butcher it. What's the name of your community?
So thank you so much. My community is Sound Healing Mastermind, and the link is just skool.com/Fatima. And my website is Fatima Teixeira, which is my last name, fatimateixeira.com. And it's easy to find. It's easy to start there. Usually I have these short 2-minute tracks already for each chakra, which is a great way to start, just 2 minutes of your day, a short break, and you can already feel a lot of impact in your body. So it's a great way to start. I also want to thank Brandon and Christina for having me here. Dana, great questions, great feedback, great connection. Val, BD, and Eileen, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I know Aussie was also here. So thank you so much for your support. And thank you for the space.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been a very energetically uplifting conversation. That's what we love to have around here. We bring amazing everyday superheroes in for everyday conversations, and the things that we turn up have been pretty awesome. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Evergreen Foundations. Follow along as we bring in new amazing guests every single week, Wednesday at 3 p.m., and we'll share Zoom links. Come join us live because it's a pretty amazing experience. Until next Wednesday, I'm Brandon Kramer from the Evergreen Foundations Apothecary.
I'm Christina Joy from Cast the Clarity Lab.
And together we make up your two squirrels of the Evolution Podcast. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.